And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Brian Brettschneider, and I am your pinch hitter today, substituting for your regular Alaska weather hosts. They should be back very soon, hopefully tomorrow or maybe by the next day. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to walk you through the Alaska weather aviation forecast. So here we go. So first thing we're going to do is look at the flight categories. So we can have VFR, IFR, MVFR. And these areas in the red are where we have IFR conditions. This is for Tuesday morning. And in the cyan light blue is where we're going to have MVFR. So everywhere we don't have anything painted in, the predominant condition is going to be VFR. Looking at Tuesday afternoon, our area of IFR in the northeastern part of the state has shrunk just there around Kaktovik to Prudhoe Bay, and then much of the central and eastern Bering Sea from St. Lawrence to Nunivak Island, and then much of the Aleutians are going to be in IFR conditions, and then kind of a ring of MVFR around most of that. This is for Tuesday afternoon. And then looking at Wednesday morning flying weather, the flight categories, a much broader area of IFR conditions with a developing storm in the Bering Sea, and we'll talk more about that. Here again, we got some more IFR in the northeastern part of the state, and then some MVFR, of course, over the Gulf of Alaska, far western part, but in a narrow strip surrounding the IFR, and then much of the North Slope and the northeastern interior. And then finally, Wednesday afternoon, again, a very large area of IFR with that big Bering Sea storm. And we're introducing an IFR area here from Prince William Sound, eastern Kenai, into the northern Gulf of Alaska, and then almost the rest of the state, except for the eastern interior and parts of the North Slope, are going to be modified VFR. Okay, so let's walk through some of the passes that are of great importance to the general aviation community here in Alaska. First, let's look at Anaktuvik Pass, and we're expecting IFR transitioning to VFR conditions throughout the day. Okay, next pass is going to be Adigan Pass, so the ice road truckers, Dalton Highway area, coming up from the south entrance all the way to the north side. Again, IFR, but transitioning to modified VFR conditions throughout the course of the day. Lake Clark and Merrill passes both look to be in pretty good shape on Tuesday with VFR conditions for the entire length of the passes. And Rainy Pass, same deal. We're looking at VFR conditions throughout the course of the day, all the way running from the east to the west. And Windy Pass, once again, looking good, VFR conditions. And not finally, Isabel Pass. We're unlike some of those North Slope passes, we're going to start with a little bit of restrictions, the MVFR, but then we're going to transition through the course of the day, hopefully, to VFR conditions. Mentasta Pass, MVFR through the entire course of the day is what's expected on Tuesday. Tonetta Pass, VFR conditions all day long on Tuesday. And I believe this is the last one. Finally, Portage Pass, again, VFR conditions throughout the course of the day. Not quite down now looking at in southeast, Chilkoot and White Passes. Improvement throughout the course of the day. We're going to start in VFR and we're going to transition over to VFR conditions, hopefully. Okay, so now let's look at some of our freezing levels throughout the course of the day. Tuesday morning, the white line here, this is where we're going to have surface freezing conditions. So at the surface, we're expecting it to be below freezing, basically from the Alaska Range northward. And then aloft, we see freezing levels around 2,000 feet here, just through the Talkeetna Mountains maybe, then over to the Yukon River Delta. At the 4,000 foot level, right kind of south of Anchorage, all the way most of southeast is going to be, well, the 4,000 foot freezing level line kind of splits southeast, just south of Juneau maybe. And then once we get out into the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians, freezing levels quite a bit higher. That's Tuesday morning. Icing conditions, now with that developing Bering Sea storm, we've got icing conditions that are going to be considerable to moderate here, really along much of the west coast from just about the Bering Strait through the YK Delta, all the way down to the Alaska Peninsula, and isolated moderate icing either side of that line, and then up here some icing considerable moderate below 12,000 feet with some isolated moderate surrounding that, southeast interior, and then southern, extreme southern southeast, Ketchikan, Metlakatla, Hyder, so isolated moderate icing conditions. All right, so the jet stream level. So this is maybe 15, 18,000 feet. We've got a low pressure system here developing, like we mentioned a few times already, here in the western Bering Sea, kind of Gulf of Anadar region, and really, really strong winds coming in just north of the Aleutians, 135, 155 knots. That's pretty windy. Okay, and you can see the wind barbs, the arrows, the circulations around that. Here in the mainland, around 65 knots here near west of Anchorage, 70 knots up here near Kotzebue, 60. But the big story is going to be the jet stream winds are going to be really, really powerful over there. And there's also going to be here a low pressure south of Haida Gwaii and all of southeast. So at 9,000 feet, again, here's our low pressure. I'll circle it, what's the right way to circle it here? I can't get my finger to go on the green screen here. But you can see this band of winds, increasing in several kind of spokes around it. 55, 60 knot winds at 9,000 feet. 50 knots up here around, like say, St. Matthew Island, maybe even into the Pribilof Islands. Not so bad here in most of the mainland at 9,000 feet. But then down here in extreme southern southeast and south of the Alaska Panhandle, some pretty strong winds. Here's a 65 knot indication right there. Now down to 3,000 feet. And the winds here, 40 plus 55 knots. So some storm force winds over here east of this low pressure, working its way toward the west coast, toward the mainland. So this is going to be really challenging aviation conditions with those winds. And it's all spinning, all counterclockwise around that low pressure. Not so bad over the mainland at 3,000 feet. The wind barbs here, very, very tiny. You can barely even see them. Turbulence on Tuesday, considerable to moderate turbulence, even below 4,000 feet with that low pressure. Very dynamic, lots of winds. Isolated to moderate through here, Nunivak Island, St. Lawrence Island, immediate west coast, really most of the Alaska Peninsula, all the Aleutians. It's going to be a turbulent times over there. All right, well, that's what I have for the aviation weather. Thank you again for bearing with me. If you have any questions, if I left anything out, if you never want me to do this again, drop a comment in there below, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.